Hello, and thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Tech Total Access. I'm your host, Grayson Wimbish. Here with me to recap the latest in Hokie sports are our analysts Ian Andrews and Ryan Dye. The men's soccer team took on Charlotte. Reporter James Ford has more.
From San Jose, Costa Rica, number 11, Marcelo Acuna. A freshman from San Jose, Costa Rica, number 14, Humberto Montero. A sophomore from Schenectady, New York, number 22, Gino Rossi. A senior from Springfield, Virginia, number 26, Juan Pablo Saavedra. A freshman from Alexandria, Virginia.
Man on, man on, man on! Let's see some bangers!
Brad Thompson Field, it's a 0-0 score between the number 23 Virginia Tech Hokies and the number 9 Charlotte 49ers. The Hokies are hanging in there with a couple of nice saves from goalkeeper Ben Lundgaard. Both teams had an equal share of possession. We'll catch up with you at the end of the match. For Virginia Tech Television, I'm James Ford.
There it is.
Oh my goodness. After 90 minutes, we're still level at 0-0 between the number 23 Virginia Tech Hokies and the number 9 Charlotte 49ers. We're going to play 10 minutes of sudden death overtime, and if it's still tied after that, we'll play 10 more minutes. We'll talk to you guys at the end of the match. For Virginia Tech Television, I'm James Ford.
The number 23 men also traveled to number 3 UNC. The men wrapped up their road schedule with a shutout loss to the Tar Heels, who clinched the Coastal Division title. The Hokies put pressure on the Heels the whole game, but it wasn't enough to slow the dominating performance from the Heels. So what did you guys think of these performances?
Well, I thought the first thing with the Charlotte game, the fact that you played out to a 0-0 draw with the number 9 team in the country, that looks great. The team did not lose in the non-conference. They went 7-0-2, so that's also something that's great. But the problem is that once you get into the UNC game here, they've got to get better in ACC play.
Yeah, the thing is, they played 2 top 10 teams. Charlotte's number 9, UNC's number 3. Okay, they played against Charlotte. It was 0-0 tie. You know, granted, you shut out a good team, but on the same end, you didn't score. Granted, that tied a program record for the 8th shutout of the season. Granted, that's a good achievement, but you need to score. I mean, tie looks good, but it's not a win. And against UNC, they're just not playing good against top teams. They're not playing good against ACC teams. So the ACC tournament's coming up. They got to do better.
I mean, I know it's soccer, and I know it's hard to score goals, but you can't get shut out 4 times in a season. No. You just can't do it.
Especially not against conference teams.
Right.
The women's soccer team hosted Notre Dame that ended in a double overtime draw. Both teams had a strong performance, but both goalkeepers were able to keep the game alive. The women then traveled to Miami, but the Hurricanes snapped the Hokies' 5-game win streak in their 4th straight second overtime game and were unable to capitalize. The Hokies came out strong, and senior Muriel Tiernan scored her 9th goal of the season. Goalkeeper Blaine Fink also had a huge game with 4 saves, but the Hokies ultimately fell short 2-1. So what did you guys think of their lackluster performance? Not the best from the Hokies.
It's a heartbreaker. They lead this entire game 1-0 all the way up until the 85th minute. And then suddenly you're looking at a 1-1 tie, momentum completely shifts. And then they go through the first overtime period, and you're thinking, all right, well, we can get out of here with a draw. And then in the 102nd minute, so once again, having your hearts ripped out just when you can see the finish line.
Yeah, this was their 4th straight double overtime game, their 5th overtime game all season. And in those games, they only have 1 win in 5 overtime games. So when you keep having these overtime games and you're not pulling out the win, I think something sticks in their head that's like, can we beat this team? Because a little bit of doubt creeps in there, and it stays in there until you can prove that you can beat these teams.
Right, and now they've fallen from the rankings. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of seed they're going to get in the ACC tournament and how they perform in that to see if they can get into the postseason bid.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to bounce back strong.
Seems that overtime is the Hokies' kryptonite almost. Can't seem to get past that one. But
Right.
Coming up after the break, we will discuss the volleyball team's tough weekend and the football team. Stay tuned.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Welcome back to Tech Total Access. The volleyball team took on Louisville. Reporter Adit Mahmood has more.
I'm here at Castle Coliseum where the Virginia Tech Hokies just lost to their ACC rivals, the Louisville Cardinals, 3-1. Against their ACC rivals, the Louisville Cardinals, the Hokies started the first couple sets strong, holding the Cardinals' offense to hitting percentages of 167 and 176 respectively. However, despite their best defensive efforts, they dropped the first two sets. After dropping the second set, the Hokies played more consistently for the rest of the game. After starting the third set slow, the Hokies played their best set, winning 25-22. It looked for a while that they would take the game to a fifth set as they came back from a 20-14 deficit before losing in the fourth and final set 22-25. Senior Lindsay Owens led the Hokies with her 10th double-double of the season, and sophomore Kelly Etch provided productive support off the bench. The Hokies return next Sunday against Notre Dame at Castle Coliseum. From Tech Total Access, it's Deep Mood.
The women then hosted Notre Dame and were shut out by the Irish. Despite neutralizing their outside hitters and 16 kills by Amanda McKenzie, the Hokies fell short. So what did you guys think about that? The Hokies fall short the other day.
Okay, well, this is the story of the whole women's volleyball team. Each game, they lost. They lost against Louisville 3-1. They lost against Notre Dame 3-0. Each game, they fell behind 2 sets early. In Louisville, they were able to recover 1, but at the end of the day, they keep doing this repeatedly. And when you fall behind 2 games, afterwards, it's just hard to come back because you got to win 3 in a row, and that's just hard to do.
Right, and it's the ACC. They looked fine out of conference, and I feel like we say this about almost all of our sports at this point. They look great out of conference, and then they get in the conference, and something's not there. I don't know if it's a winning mentality. I don't know if it's the overall talent, but they're going to have to start to figure out something.
The swimming and diving team hosted Duke, William and Mary, and West Virginia. The men and women went for a combined 5-1 over the other schools, with the women only barely losing to Duke. Coming up after the break, we will discuss the football team's huge win over Miami.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Welcome back to Tech Total Access. The football team hosted Miami for Thursday Night Football. Reporter Izzy Post has more.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later gotta cut you down, sooner or later gotta cut you down.
The Hokies came into this matchup with high hopes, looking for a dub against their opponents. They would face their ACC rivals, the Miami Hurricanes, which would test the once AP top 25 caliber Virginia Tech offense and defense. There were many players who shined on the defensive side of the ball, but none more so than Woody Barron, who accumulated 2.5 sacks and 4 tackles for loss in the game. Throughout, the defense proved that they would not be intimidated and made the Hurricanes look like a drought in their performance. The offense would go to work quick, with Virginia Tech kicker Joey Slye capitalizing on a 47-yard field goal, and the offense, commanded by Gerard Evans and company, would capitalize on 272 net yards passing and 251 yards rushing, while compiling a total of 37 points in their win over their opponents. The Hokies improved to 5-2 and will face Pittsburgh next week.
Reporting for Tech Total Access, I'm Izzy Post, doing most.
And I'm DJ Jones, being me.
Signing off.
The Hokies are now back in the AP Top 25 at number 25 and are tied with UNC to take the Coastal title. So what did you guys think about this comeback? Personally, it was on my 21st birthday, and that was awesome. You know, had a great time, able to see the Hokies get this dub.
Well, the first thing that I talked about with anybody, I was in the press box with the key play, and you were allowed to be on the field for the final 4 minutes. So I took a chance with a injury timeout, 6 minutes to go. I'm going to take the elevator down and we'll get down on the field, see how this ends. I walk out of the tunnel as Evans is scoring that last touchdown run, and oh my God, it was loud. And I looked around at these other Tech fans and I was like, has it been this loud the whole game? And this one elderly gentleman looked at me and said, buddy, it's been way louder than this. So my first thing is to Hokie Nation for bringing it, you know, they brought it. It felt like the old school Thursday night Lane Stadium.
100%. The crowd was insane. I was in the crowd myself, and it was hard to even hear yourself talk. I saw on social media some Miami fans who were at the game. They commented and said that this was like the loudest environment that they'd ever been a part of, and it was just crazy experience.
Well, I saw that also. There was the guy on the Miami message board. He had talked about he had been to a NASCAR race at Daytona, and he's been to an NFL stadium before, and he said there was nothing like it. Just absolutely off the chain how loud it was. And I had the chance to sit in the stands and in the box for part of the game, and in both elements, people were going ballistic. And I like what you said, Ryan. I think brought back the old Thursday night. We've struggled on Thursday night in years past, and I think we got it back.
Woody Barron had himself a ball game. And Bud Foster talked about it yesterday, said that he's playing as well as any defensive lineman he's ever coached here. And there are some impressive names on that list. So Barron had a great game. Trayvon Hill had a great game after losing his grandmother. Tremaine Edmonds is keeping up his incredible season. This defense, after the big letdown against Syracuse, suddenly looks real again.
Yeah, I remember I was looking at the scoreboard about late third quarter, They had thrown about 200, 300 yards, which is decent. But if you look at the run yards, they only had, before they broke off like a 60-yard run late in the quarter, they only had about 10, 20 yards for the first 3 quarters. So the defense is playing pretty great.
Absolutely. Great bounce-back performance. You know, a lot of credit to Brad Kaya, Miami's quarterback, very talented young man. But the lunch pail defense brought it, and they went to work. The team also had some things to say about the win. Here's what was talked about at this week's press conference.
Obviously pleased with our performance last week. We had a great home field advantage. Our fans were fantastic. It was a memorable first Thursday night game in Lane Stadium for me. And I do want to make sure I thank everybody for coming out. They played a huge role in that football game. As we turn the page, we have another big challenge in front of us, going on the road to Pitt. I know they'll have an exciting environment. Pitt was off last week, so that poses another challenge. I know they'll be rested and ready to play. This is a very good Pitt football team. Obviously, they can run the ball and have done a really good job stopping the run. They've got a dynamic, exciting returner. Their punt return game and kickoff return game has aided in their success. We've got a tremendous challenge trying to negate that. But our kids are looking forward to the challenge. They've had some good prep time. We've obviously got practice again today to get ready for Thursday.
I was concerned actually going in because we were nicked up a little bit, and we needed a couple guys to step up. But all those guys played extremely hard. They did a great job with their gap fits and proper leverage. And Woody right now is playing as well as any. I told him that in front of the group. He's playing as well as any defensive lineman we've had here in my tenure as a coordinator. Just very active, very physical at the point of attack. Technique and fundamental-wise, he is just very sound fundamentally and recognizes play side and backside right now, can get off a block. Really works at it as far as his pass rush. He's a guy that, told the young kids, he's a great guy to look at and pattern yourself after.
Trusting what they see, and that is definitely critical into what we want to do as far as run and pass, and not just keying on certain guys. So that was definitely beneficial, especially against the talented group as Miami. Those guys really are freakish.
Well, of course we like being in the top 25, but at the end of the day, we just want to win a football game, regardless if we're in the top 25 or if we're not ranked at all. We just want to go out and play Virginia Tech football and go 1-0 each week.
They're really good up front. Their front seven's really good. I'm going to have one-on-one opportunities with the safeties and things like that, so it's going to be important for me to make those guys miss to create big runs. So, they're really good on film. They have a really good defense. It's going to be exciting playing against those guys, that's for sure.
It felt really good. The anticipation for the start was crazy. I had a lot of emotions going into the game, of course, with my situation. But I just played with a lot of emotion, a lot of passion.
You know what you're getting with Pittsburgh, just like Miami. Talented team, very big up front. They want to run the ball. Traditional squad.
So it all comes down to this, guys. What do you think that the Virginia Tech football team has to do to beat their kryptonite in the Pittsburgh Panthers?
I think they have to stop the run. That's what it comes down to. James Conner, we all know the story. We all know coming back from the cancer. That team is really playing well on offense, and it all starts with the running game. And they run, and then they set you up to pass the ball. So if you can, what Foster likes to say, put them in a phone booth, then you're going to be fine. But you have to stop the run.
Yeah, this Pittsburgh team's really been hot. The past 6 games, they scored over at least 36 points per game over the past 6 games. That's pretty good for ACC play.
I think another thing on defense, much like Pitt's offense, they like to stop the run. And so we kind of saw Trayvon break out a little bit last week. And we're going to need that exact same kind of performance again, because while teams can pass on Pitt, if you can run the ball on Pitt, then then they're going to fold pretty quickly.
Yeah, Pittsburgh does have the last ranked defense in the ACC, pass defense in the ACC, but they're top 5 in the nation in run defense. They've only given up one 100-yard rushing team the whole year. So if you look at the recipe Syracuse against us, they really contain our run game, and that makes us one-dimensional. So granted, they have a bad pass defense, but I think if we're one-dimensional, it really hurts our chances.
That bodes ill for the Hokies because this season especially, we've struggled with the run. Offensive line has kind of been inconsistent in some games, but we've done all right in the air. So with the last passing defense in the ACC, we could do all right.
The only problem is that it's at Pittsburgh. And while Pitt historically baffles us, we've lost 6 of the last 7 against them. We haven't won in Heinz Field ever. And we haven't won at Pitt since 1999 when Michael Vick was quarterback. So psychologically, they're going to have to get over that hump.
And I think honestly, if there's any team to do that, it's this one. You got a new coaching regime in there. Coach Fuente, I really like what he's preaching to the boys. It's hard work, and I think any team could have come over that hump. But if there's any team that's going to do it, it's going to be this one. We also went downtown to ask students their thoughts on our win. Reporter Adit Mahmood has more.
This is Adit Mahmood from VTTV. We're right now downtown talking to fellow Hokies about last week's game against Miami. This is Man on the Street. So, what do you think of the game last week?
It was really intense. Like, you should have seen the crowd. They were always on their feet, like, jumping off, like, ooh. And when they put the Enter Sandman on, like, was it fourth quarter? Third quarter? Yeah.
So was that the best game experience you ever had?
So far, yes. Especially the wave. Like, we got 5 or 6 going on. They were not stopping. I think that was the longest one I ever seen.
What did you think of Thursday's game? So, what were your thoughts on last week's game?
I thought it was pretty good. You know, the weather was a little bit chilly, but I think the Hokies really brought it home.
Yeah, there were a lot of folks in town.
So what do you think of our quarterback?
Who's our quarterback?
I think he's pretty tall. I think he's got an arm like a cannon.
So what do you think of the Miami game?
It was a really good game. As a senior, it was a really great way to go out as our last Thursday game, and I can't wait to see how we do this Thursday and also next week.
What do you think of Gerard Evans?
He's a really good player, and I think Virginia Tech's defense right now is really, really on par. This Thursday with Pittsburgh, that's got, I think, the biggest thing that we need to look for. Because
Do you think we can win the Coastal?
Absolutely, I think we can win the Coastal. I think we can win the national championship.
What do you think has been the biggest improvement from this year?
The quarterback play and the intensity on defense.
What are your expectations against Pittsburgh on Thursday?
I think we're going to take it to them and we're going to demolish them.
Do you have a score?
89-0.
All right. Good talking to you.
High five. Thank you.
I always love talking with the fans after an exciting win. This is Adit Mahmood from VTTV.
So it all comes down to this. Score predictions. What do you guys got?
I think Virginia Tech wins 42-17. And I'm predicting at least one defensive touchdown.
Ryan, you go ahead.
I have the Hokies winning 34-31.
I'm in direct accordance with that. I'll go 30-27. We don't win by more than 3 points.
We win by a lot.
I don't think so. That's all we have for this week's episode of Tech Total Access. Be sure to tune in next week for more hard-hitting sports action. And as always,
go
Hokies!
You guys didn't know, like my girl Izzy post, okay, because she's going to Orlando for the ACC championship game. And guys, this is an outstanding individual I've gotten to know. I had a pleasure working with her over the years, and there's no one better I could think of to send down there to represent us, and especially to pursue our talents and our dreams. So Izzy, y'all gotta give it up for her, like us.
Like us on VGTV's Facebook page. Tweet #Izzy4ACC, Izzy the number 4 ACC to send me to Orlando. Let's have a Hokie at the ACC Championships.